It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Jessica, which one?
I don't mind.
Okay, Jess, feels more informal.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Manaki, Real Talks. How you going?
Thank you. Good, really good. Thank you for having me. Yay.
It's exciting, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, can I say this and not get in trouble? This is like 2 interviews this week with female founders in the meta web world.
Well done. Especially today after I saw this event going around. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but it was, it was like 8 or 9 men and no woman. No, it was just it was VR and AR meetups. Like
what did you call it? Metaverse.
Metaverse. But yeah, Sam's talk was great. I really enjoyed listening to her. But as you know, I'm a friend, and we have both been working in this industry for some time. Her longer than me, and I really admire her and excited to do stuff with her because she is such a leader and such a kind and awesome person.
I mean, it is an interesting question to jump in straight away and just say, why are the is the community in this web gaming is like, what's the level of diversity there?
Well, actually, in virtual and augmented reality, it's pretty diverse. And, if you just look around in New Zealand as a, starting point, myself, Sam Ramlu, Kat Lintott, Amber, there's a bunch of women who have been working in this in leadership roles, if not the founders of those companies.
That's good.
I think it's just this new hype around metaverse, and potentially that I'm not as familiar with the crypto space in terms of how diverse that is, but I'm going to say I think it might not be as diverse as virtual and augmented reality, which of course, many of us, it's not about necessarily about the tech, it's about the creative content that we can make with that technology. So therefore, a lot of creative people who might have come from film or theatre, like myself, I come from theatre and film, who went into gaming and went into VR, potentially in the Web3 or the crypto blockchain world, I'm guessing a lot more men.
Yeah, NFTs, but you flustered me and I didn't do my intros and all of those things that I'm meant to do. So let me just do it. If you want to follow us on YouTube, please do that, manaki.io for the website. If you want to join the small business community, follow us on social. I've got an intro for Jess, so let's go. You're the CEO and co-founder of VR game studio Beyond. Apparently you make social VR worlds like Oddball, which is based on the Unreal Engine. You won a bunch of cash from Sparks 5G Starter Fund recently, correct?
Yes.
You've got a new VR game in collaboration with Weta coming out, which is due for release early next year.
Yep, that's the plan.
And that's called Combonauts. Combonauts. We're going to talk about that. And you're down the rabbit hole with Fluff World, making virtual burrows. Yes. You're the co-creator of Leading Ladies Wellington. You're a shareholder in content creation studio Mixed, correct?
Yes.
And you're on a mission to bring VR to the masses and have a bit of fun while you're doing it.
That's right. You got it.
So fucking good. And we have 770 mutual connections on LinkedIn.
Boom.
Do you actually use LinkedIn? Like a lot of my founders are like, when I say to them, hey, let's go and, they're like, whatever, I'm not going on that place. Do you use it?
I totally do. It's in fact is how I created Leading Ladies, which we now call the club, but internally. But 6 years ago, I got the role as regional manager at the Biz Dojo in Wellington, and it was my first kind of leadership role out of Star Now. I'd been at Star Now for 8 years, and and been mentored by Cameron and others within the company. And I was like, I feel like I need a better support network for this new role. And that's how I reached out to Toni Moyes. I'd been watching her, and she was at the time at COO at 8i, which is also, you know, a really cool Kiwi virtual reality company. And so I found her on LinkedIn and messaged her and said, I'm thinking about setting up this group, kind of, you know, mentoring, peer mentoring. And she said, oh, it's like the, you know, leaning in, let's do it. And we reached out to other women, and then we created this group. And so that was really one of the first uses of LinkedIn for me, was connecting with people. And then now I'm actually hosting everyone at my house tonight for a, like, celebrate 6 years of mentoring each other.
Lucky you.
I know.
Being able to host people.
I know. I know. Sorry.
Hey, that's all good. It's all good. It's a team game, and, you know, different regions. What is Beyond?
Beyond is all about bringing VR to the masses, which you mentioned. It's Beyond is about bringing people together for social play. It's all about social connections. That's something that we've always been passionate about. So we love virtual reality. We love being able to bring people into virtual worlds together in a social, fun way. So everything that we've been doing has been very much around that vision and that mission. And I guess that's why we're now working on the projects we are, and launched our first game, Oddball, and it's all about social goodness.
It sounds easy what you just said, right? Is it hard?
It's so hard.
Oh, come on.
It is. It's really hard. It's complicated. And when we started, we were doing something very new. We were using the Oculus Quest headsets, which were in fact not even out publicly when we were, you know, when we were first trying to, like, build for them. And we were trying to make it much more accessible to create a free roam multiplayer VR game in an environment for a location. So, you know, trying to take away all the big outside in cameras. You know, we didn't want any of the backpack PCs with VR connected. We wanted it to all be wireless, easy to play. Kids could enjoy it. Mum and dad could enjoy it. It was like, you know, let's make this as for everybody. And that was challenging because it was new technology, constant updates in terms of the software on that technology. You know, we had all sorts of things thrown at us. And then, of course, COVID came, and we had just launched a location game in LA, you know, February 2020. 3 weeks later, that was all over. Big contracts over. All our American spaces that we were developing relationships with were closed. So, you know, we've been choosing to do cutting edge things, and you take a risk when you do that. But, you know, we're here and we're still doing some pretty fun stuff. So it's paying off.
For people that are not as knowledgeable as you, and definitely for me, what's the short, you know, and I can see that Brooke's on the call, you know, like one of the things that he's a bit challenging with is providing answers in a concise way. So a little bit of guidance for you, how, and I promise not to interrupt, because that's my continual feedback from people as I interrupt my guests, is the end-to-end process to develop a VR game. Like, how many parts to it?
Okay, well, there's a prototyping part. So you might have your idea around what you want to do. And then there's quite a lot of a phase where you're prototyping that. You're just blocking it out. You're experimenting. Does it feel good? Does it not? You know, you might just have placeholder assets. So you haven't actually got the real art designed at that stage. You might be just starting to concept things. And so then you start to kind of build that environment, that 3D environment. And you know, as much as possible, you putting it onto a headset so you can move around and experiment. And then, of course, so there's two sides. Of course, there's the art, and then there's the actual development of it. So the engineers who are working to make sure it all works and the interactions work, and then it feels good. A lot of testing, you know, lots of going in and trying and testing. Yeah, like Oddball, we used to have testers come in every Friday night, and we just constantly coming in and seeing how they were reacting. Were they doing what we thought they were going to do? Did they move their hand and look at their watch, or did they need some direction, you know? And that's a really big part of it. And then, you know,
getting the final art in. Like when you think
it really depends on what the experience, you know, how big is the experience. I mean, but for context, Oddball took us 12 months to build, a year to build. It's a player versus player game where you're turning people into giant pineapples. You know, it's kind of a fun shooter, but you're shooting them with little balls and things. And
on a browser or on
no, in the physical space. In the back here, we have a big 10-meter by 10-meter space. So you walk around in the space playing with your friends. Designed for up to 8 people, free roaming around, walking around with the headset on, and kind of like laser tag in VR or paintball, but you don't get hurt.
So if you then think about development of games like Sam, is doing something with Sony PlayStation for Wanderer, and you compare that to the development of the environments that you're doing with non-fungible labs, same, different?
Yes, different. I mean, a lot more art involved. So ours was Oddball was very development and R&D heavy. So we're using new technology, and there's a lot of experimentation with the technology as well. Lots of troubleshooting, new things. Nobody's ever done it, right? So there's not like a guidebook or any help that you can get. You're having to figure stuff out. And then if you look at Sam, say, with Wanderer, these beautiful immersive worlds that they have created there, that's a lot of art and a lot of time to create and build those worlds. And then, of course, all the interactions on top of that, so all the development as well. So that's a much longer and bigger project than, say, Oddball is.
And so you're saying also the Burrows is like, that's a short, easy project.
No, well, the Burrows is because we contained it to phases, right? So it's we've got the art has been a huge part of it. We've had art and development, working at the same time. So we've got our developers working on how as soon as we've done the UI, working on the mobile app, all of the interactions with that, getting it running, and then at the same time we've had the artists working on creating the assets, the lighting, everything within those worlds. And because we're doing it in phases, we can go, okay, this is kind of a 4-month phase for this first one to get those out, and then we'll start adding this, and then we'll go from mobile to virtual reality, and we'll do that for PC VR, and then we'll probably we will want to make it multiplayer because these are social burrows. That's what they're about. We want to be able to party in them and bring your friends. So that will be a phase as well. So yeah, it's just you're a startup man, MVP.
Yeah. Did you tell any secrets then?
I think everyone knows they're going to be social burrows and they're going to be multiplayer. I do have a secret I can share with you a bit later, though. I've got a little screen share if you want.
Yeah, if we can make this tech work, that would be quite cool. Have you got a fluff?
Yes, I do.
A thingy?
I do, yeah. I've got a ticky as well.
Yeah, you got a ticky as well. Yeah, did you name your fluff?
I did, but I actually just renamed her last night in tribute to the Burrows. She is now Lady Roller. She likes. I
thought it was such an epic thing, because I haven't renamed mine because I was like all the gas fees, and then the team did the release yesterday saying we can rename, and I was like wicked. So I named mine. I've called it Aroha.
Lovely. Love.
Yeah. And my thingy is now called. I know, I'm struggling with that. So I'm hoping for the creativity of my 17 and 15-year-old daughters who are somewhat trying to come to terms with how much money I spent on the fluff. Of course, I went to them yesterday and said, look at my ASM box. That's gone up in value. And they're like, whatever. They're like, whatever. So no, I'm going to work on with them over the weekend. I might have to pay them though to do that. Where's the love? So
that's cool.
I actually had a question. Someone asked me, is it going to be possible to decorate your burrows with other non-fluff world NFTs?
I feel like that's a leak, but yes, I think we will be planning in the future to be able to decorate and bring in others. It's the metaverse, so you want to be able to bring in other NFTs and even other characters.
We're in December 2021.
You mean December?
Yes. What? Let's just put ourselves in December 2020. December Burrow 2022. What does the fluff world look like then? And because I know that you don't see the full roadmap, and you won't release everything, but give us a sense of feeling for what you think it will be.
Oh, look, I can already see Brooke saying, haha, I'm in leak mode. So, I can't say too much.
No, well, just like give us some without.
Look, these worlds are only going to get bigger. They're only going to get more, enable more NFTs and more characters and more, more things to make them personal to you. It's, this is there's some big vision stuff going on here. I'm pretty sure land parcels have already been leaked. I've seen people talking about that and Aaron talking about that, but there's going to be land. So the boroughs are just the start, really. 12 months
When you
time.
invest in a startup, they tell you, if you're going to invest like 100 grand, then start with 50 because you're always going to have to put more in. Do you think I should have told my wife that my entry price for the fluff world is like 1/5 of what it'll end up being?
Yeah, don't worry. You've got those ASM boxes, so just you'll be rolling in it.
How did you?
But,
Yeah, no, way you go.
no, I was just going to say, but yes, right. If you're wanting to be a part of a community, I guess you're on the ride, right? And you're in, and you want to be a part of that future.
Do you understand that to some people it can be seen as cult-like and crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is it
But I'm
rational?
used to that, right? I'm used to that. Like it's the same with all these kind of when you're an early adopter, that's what people look at you a little bit crazy.
It's
And
actually, this is a very interesting thing, right? And we're going to get into your background, but I've got it later, but I'm going to bring it up now. What do you think when you reflect back, if you are early and you're at the visionary side and you're trying to talk to people that are in the middle of the curve? Like, have you got any tips around how you've coped with that? Because I know you've raised investment, right?
Mhm.
I tried to burrow into the company's office to find out who was the 29% shareholder, but I couldn't. I think I know who it is.
I think you probably do, but I think this person prefers not to talk too much about it.
Yeah,
But
so let's just keep that private. But how did you
yeah.
convince someone, or was it because they backed you and your co-founders?
Yeah, it was a mixture. They had known me for a while and been watching my journey in virtual reality, and so had seen me for kind of 2 and a bit years, doing things, failing at things, and had kind of kept a bit of a, like a distance when it came to me, wanting to I don't know, there was never any chat around investment. But then one day, there was an interest in what I was now doing, which was kind of the social gaming side of things. And like any kind of experience like this, you got to show somebody, right? It's like show me, don't tell me. And I showed them what we were doing, and
The studio.
I showed them a VR experience we were making, and they were blown away and were like, I'm in. I can see it now. I get it, and I'm excited by it. And that was really cool. Somebody, but of course believed in us, believed in the team, and then had watched the team and had
Yeah,
we
but they
proved
knew you.
ourselves. They knew
They
us.
knew you.
Yeah, they knew me.
At that point that you got that yes for investment, had you had no's before then?
Yes, I had no's, but I hadn't also gone out, on the typical kind of road of investment, in terms of pitching and raising capital. I just had some conversations, but definitely had some no's. But most of it was public money no's. So I had been trying to raise money originally for Projector, which was an R&D space
Yeah.
for VR and AR. And I had so many no's around all sorts of things there, in terms of government support or council support. The council had given us a little bit to get started, but in order to maintain what we were trying to do to support that startup sector was never enough. So, there've been a lot of no's. In the end, I had to close it because I had too many no's and I just couldn't. It wasn't sustainable.
Was that an easy decision to close it?
Uh In the end, yes, because there was no denying that it wasn't working. You know, it was the money wasn't coming in, and I couldn't pay the rent. So if you can't pay the rent, then it's over.
Close the shop.
Yeah, close the shop, and I had a physical space, and I couldn't
do
get
you
enough projects.
do you think, you know, that it's a bit weird that you can be desperate as fuck and not really resonating, and then all of a sudden you're famous and you've just got at peak demand for your business, like, and it's like, how did that happen?
Oh yeah, I mean, literally, because I have raised more capital, and you probably saw some of the local, you would have recognized some of the people who have now invested in
Yeah,
our company, and that was earlier this year that we did that round, and that was a big education process that I had to take people on the journey of what we're doing.
yeah,
However, if I was raising capital right now, I feel like it would be a very different conversation, you know, and we're only talking a few months, you know, difference, because suddenly everyone has realized, and I know as much as people get frustrated around Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg and his vision for the
yeah.
metaverse, he has shown mainstream what we've been working on. You know, he has shown them. And so people go, oh, virtual reality, and oh man, these multiplayer worlds, and oh, the social aspect, and you know, the well-being, all the different things that people are now personally connecting with. And that means that suddenly the interest in us and what we've been doing has gone right up.
Well, it's
You know,
exponential, right?
yeah,
Because the Web3 just creates, you know, actually it creates barriers to entry from what I can see, and it's gonna, you know, it's a bit like, you know, and I'm early. It's going to create massive opportunities, but it's also going to create massive pressure for studios like yours, right? Because you somehow you're going to have to accelerate the production.
yeah, yeah. And we're having to turn down things which we would have just loved to have done 12 months ago, you know, and we just go, well, we know we're so focused on what we've got at the moment, and we don't have the capacity to do that. And so always right now it's like, how do we find more amazing talent to join our studio? That's going to be a really big focus, you know, is scaling,
Yeah.
and of course looking at all the different options, remote workers, you know, looking at different countries and how we can do that. We love people being in the office in this creative environment. It's so good when we can be here together and work on it together in person, but we just know that's not always going to be feasible.
What sort of talent do you need to hire?
Always looking for Unreal Engine engineers.
Yeah.
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 And more artists, more 3D artists, generalists, modelers. And we've recently brought on an amazing new community manager, Anastasia, but we will definitely be looking to increase, you know, probably another producer would be good to take away some of the work that myself and my co-founder Anton do.
Mm. Are you excited about the Meta Web3 world?
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's so cool seeing this, you know, all come together, like all these different areas, you know, blockchain, something that I've had an interest in probably from my Biz Dojo days when we used to have Mark Pascal always, you know, yeah, blockchain, you know, and running his blockchain meetups, and I'd come along or I'd allow them to host them there, and I'd have a little listen and go, this is quite cool. But, you know, it's really cool seeing these different things all build into this Web3 world that we are all now a part of. It's cool. And the ownership, you know, and the ability for creators. You know, I'm excited about what this means for creators, for artists, you know, for all of us.
Super exciting. And I suspect as well, community developers. Like if you think about the linear experience that you had at Dojo and curating and leading the communities, I know it's different, but it's also similar in that binding people together for a shared purpose and enabling depth in those communities.
Yeah. You know it from the Ice House, right? We have a
Yeah,
similar, you know, shared experience in that. And yeah, it is.
yeah. Do you reckon you can do you reckon there's a math formula for the web world?
You're asking the wrong person. I failed at maths.
Well, you know what I'm saying? A
I know what
series
you're
of
saying.
patterns that you just repeat, you know, rinse and repeat.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Really? What would
Do you?
surprise people? Do it. That's an interesting question. I don't. I think it's got a different formula. I I think there are formulas. I think it's about loading the bases with lots of throws, trialing, testing, seeing what takes, what doesn't. What I love is that what digital and web does is that it creates closeness to your community, and scale of community is fundamentally so much smaller than what it needs to be in the Web 2 world, or that, linear world. That seriously excites me for artists, musicians, diversity, and people who can bring community together and storytelling. But the fundamentals will remain.
Yes.
If you can't create engagement, depth, like it's a rabbit hole. Do you want to tell another secret now?
Do you want me to share my screen? Should I attempt? Oh, sorry, motorbike going past.
Yeah. Okay. I don't even know whether you can, because
I tried it before. We'll give it a quick whirl, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, yeah. We'll try it.
Can you do two things at once?
Of course I can. All right. So, is that working? There you go. Can you see that?
Well, this is interesting, right? Because I can see me and I can see, Lyndon's getting excited. So the question is, here we go. So I just want to make sure with everyone online, because I can see, all the peeps online, can you see that shared screen right now? Can someone put in the comments? Because I can see no. So that's a bummer. I wonder how. Wait a minute. Share screen. If I just.
Well, I'll stop sharing mine.
No. Now you're going to see all my emails and my notes. But it looks like this is such a bummer.
This is hilarious. Now everyone's like, what is it? What's she trying to show? Okay, I'm going to try once more, okay? I did this earlier before you got online, and we tested it. I went share screen, okay? Entire screen, okay? You sure you can't see that?
Why don't you describe what you've got?
Oh, really? You can't see it?
No. Well, I can see it on my, I don't know. It's, you've got a non-techie person here, and this is just to wind people up. No, we can't. We can wait, lol. Lyndon. Is that Lyndon or is that Aaron? Brooke got this sorted, but for some reason, picture-in-picture cinema. I'm not even going to touch this, but PJ might message me and say you do this.
All right, so I'm stopping sharing then.
Oh, wait a minute. What's he saying? Oh, yeah. I'll just say, how do we? This is a bit screen.
Aaron, Brooke, get on the phone.
Yeah. Hey, so what were you going to show?
Well, it's like I
burrows.
I was going to show you something about the burrows.
Well, just tell us.
Yeah, but I can't. It's not the same as like showing a picture.
Of course it is.
Honestly, I actually can't describe these. What I was going to share was something to do with the sizes of them. So the layout and the sizes, so you could get some scale. And I was going to drop something about the high roller in there. So you could, because I don't know if you saw the little video. A few people were like, that doesn't look very big, but that was just a little glimpse of the high roller. So yes.
Now, so here we go. We've got a live instruction here. PJ says there's a screen sharing button that Jess can press, and then I just need to flick the switch on the video that pops up on the left side of the screen. So you do share again.
I'll do it again. Okay, I'm going share.
And then do I have to flick the switch? No, that's weird. I think I just have to. I'm a bit worried about. I don't want to remove you as a guest, but let's just.
Paranoid.
Ooh, here we go.
Oh.
They can see that. Here we go.
I can see it. Oh. Okay, so they can see it. We're working.
Like me.
Oh.
Let's go.
All right, this is the suite. So this is showing you a layout of the suite right now. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what's what, but some of you who are diehard fans who have watched those videos. I don't know how many times have you watched them, Andy?
I don't know.
A few times. A
I
few
watch them
times.
late at
Yeah, you
night.
watch them later and see if you can figure it out. What is what in terms of these spaces here? Okay, so that's let's go. That's one.
There's a bit of
Let's.
excitement on the chat.
Is there excitement? Is there excitement?
Yeah,
Oh, and
yeah.
now look at this. That's the high roller.
Oh, there's an upstairs, downstairs.
There sure is.
Oh,
So there's my little leak.
I
Someone
think
can
there's
figure it
more. Isn't there
out.
more? You said you had a third image,
Oh well, there
and
we are. Oh yeah, I
and
guess I'll
Brooke
have
said
it.
it was okay to share. He said leak away.
I don't know
And I
where I
think
put it. I don't know where I put the other one. So
really,
that's what you get. The other one was the smaller one.
it's pretty cool. It must be
Yeah.
cool to be involved in projects like that, right?
So cool, and it's so cool that it's Kiwi and it's great people. And I've always loved collaborating. I mean, that's a lot of what I've been about for so many years, and so was absolutely over the moon when Aaron contacted me and told me what they're up to and some of their vision, and was like, "That's dope," and yeah, let's do it.
And was that easy? Was it just like let's go?
Pretty much, yeah. Because we had been starting to experiment and prototype with some new ideas of what we we're planning to do once we released Combinauts, and we've been kind of getting to the end of that. So we're at a stage where we're starting to think about pitching new ideas and to publishers, because we're very much about creating our own IP or shared collaborative IP with somebody else, but not client. We don't do client work. That's not. We've done that in the past.
You're not a services place.
We're not a services company, and so yeah, as soon as we saw this, and it was like, this is a bit of a no-brainer for us. So we were and such a good team.
Yeah, if you look at the value chain in this meta world, right? Coins, exchanges, crypto, data, capital markets, digital assets, tokens, payments, environments, da 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 da. Like there's a big value chain, whichever way you look at it. If you weren't where you are with Beyond and your other initiatives, where would you be looking to play?
Oh, that's quite tricky.
Just remember, you've got to have your song ready for later too.
There's no warning about that, but don't stop me now.
That's pretty good.
Good time.
Janine Granger was the best from Easy Crypto. She just came straight out, and I was just like, boom. And Brooke was dumbfounded. He didn't say anything. He didn't even. He wouldn't even sing.
Wouldn't he? Oh, Brooke.
Yeah. So we're like,
where would I be playing? Like, what would I be doing?
Yeah, if you weren't where you are,
as
it's not as a capitalist, but where you see opportunity.
Oh, so somewhere else that I see opportunity other than what I'm doing right now. I mean, it's a hard one, because I originally started in theatre and film, and so entertaining and bringing fun and joy and creative, that's who I am, and that's what I've always wanted to do and have done in many different forms. My first job was actually as an editor, in a television production company, and then I was on screen a lot and did that kind of thing. So I've always loved that entertainment.
So you just do more of what you're doing.
I just think I'll do more of what I'm doing, and I don't, it might just be, it just might look slightly different, but.
What are some brands that inspire you and drive you to be the best version of yourself? It's a big sigh.
It is. I mean, I know this is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but because I work, with this, but Unreal Engine, and Epic, and it's incredible, from Fortnite and what they have achieved with that game, to the actual engine that drives it, and the incredible updates that I'm constantly seeing. There's support for the ecosystem, with their mega grants, which numerous people, I think, in New Zealand have had. Like, that's a pretty cool company that inspires me.
Why did Unity buy Weta Digital?
well, Weta are doing some fascinating things in that space, and both parties want to be in film, right? Film is huge, for those game engines, that pipeline, the IP that has been created through years and years of making films, and Weta Digital, they have just got this pool of knowledge and resource that can now be monetized as, I believe, as a SaaS platform. So it's a good opportunity for Unity.
Who do you see as like the sleeping giants in this meta world, other than all of the people that you're collaborating with and partnering with and who you've mentioned already?
Oh, the sleeping giants, that's an interesting question.
Well, just like the people who, not that like the metas of this meta, whatever, it's more like who you go, wow, those people are doing some freaking amazing work.
Oh, you kind of stumped me. I'm not sure right now. Who?
I quite like when I answer people and they can't answer the question. We bring that back on a show reel.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean,
with,
because I'm obviously in this space, right? Roblox, for example, have just been leading the way, right? They have been hosting these concerts, within their gaming world, as just as Fortnite have for much longer than anyone else, and they've been doing incredible things in this space, allowing people to build their own worlds, monetizing microtransactions for, people to customize their characters, for assets, for outfits, all of that kind of stuff, emotes. They're probably one of the brilliant kind of companies, that a lot of people have been looking at.
Okay, let me ask you a different question. Let's say you're head of brand for like Pepsi, Coke, Nestle. What would be your strategy to your board around how to play and participate in this meta world?
By buying some fluffs, because you might want to get those fluffs and figure out how you are going to bring them into your world, your customers, how you're going to be relevant, how are you going to, as more and more of us start to play in this space, how are you going to be a part of that, and
buy some
having
land.
those. What's that?
Buy some land.
Yeah, you probably want to buy some land. I think the characters, that you and the avatars that you have are going to be important. Maybe you're wanting to have some of your own, your own creations in there, and we're seeing brands do that, right? There's huge brands right now that are working in the NFT space who are creating, digital representations and of what they have in the physical world, and they're looking at what's the play there. How do you play within the metaverse or a virtual world, play to win and earn something that you can then have within the physical world? So like bridging those two together would be what you'll be starting to look at if you were doing strategy within, those kind of big companies.
Other than access to talent, does anything worry you about this space?
I don't think that any of our governments are really, really considering this as a huge opportunity for us, and then also therefore we might get left behind. And we're already seeing it, for example, in the games industry, where Australia offers up to 45% rebate if you're a game studio based there, and that's on your production costs. So that's something that we should be looking at, is how do we support the sector here? How do we retain talent, keep them here? Obviously, it's related to talent, but not let this opportunity go to waste.
It's tough though, right? Because you're talking to people who are not converted, right? And often, the lobbying groups are not as established as some of the traditional industries, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, we have a game developers association with some great people like the chair, Chelsea. She's awesome. But I still just don't. I think it comes down to, do you have a champion within government who is ready to take what you've got to say and your papers, etc., and shout for you.
It's interesting. Do you have an ASM brain?
I do. I do. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, it's not unboxed yet, right? Ooh, it's
Do you have
exciting.
one or do you have multiple?
I have one.
Yeah, I only have
Yeah.
one too.
I know my brother. I got my brother into fluffs. He's in Australia, and I got him, and he's bought two. And then he's got a couple of ASM brands, and his girlfriend apparently has got 3 boxes. So she's very excited.
It's so weird,
A
right?
family
Because
affair.
I hope this guy is not watching, but for one of my other companies, we're pitching for a traditional services company, and we're pitching to this guy, and I start shits and giggles having chat to him about fluffs, and he's like got 9 fluffs and 4 ASM boxes, and you would never, ever, ever know.
Yeah, classic. I
Yeah,
noticed a few rugby players, someone mentioned All Black fluffs. I've noticed a few rugby players have been liking and retweeting quite a lot of our stuff lately.
and cricketers. Mitch has
Yeah.
got one, right? Mitch
Oh, right.
McClanahan's got. Oh, I think he's got one.
Yeah. So there you go.
It is pretty interesting. Let's just have because you've done a number of things in your career around industry good as well, right? And I'm I've sort of been playing around in our mind learning about DAOs, right?
Mhm.
Just those organizations, and I've been thinking about, you know, as a person that goes out and just makes shit happen, you know, as a team, you and your co-founder and your organization, you see an opportunity, go after it. It's a different thing to how you influence an industry or a community to go for industry good and New Zealand good. Do you, do you find it easier taking the action yourself in your own business as opposed to helping an industry move?
Yeah, I do. I find it easier to do it myself, and which is why I did a bit of a switch in the last 3.5 years from being more trying to move the dial with an industry and a community, together, and creating a space, doing 2 conferences, based around that, and getting everybody to showcase their work, trying to do that as a team, as an association. I set up the VR AR association. That was very challenging. And so I realized that the best thing I can do is show success in this industry by focusing on what I can do myself and just proving to everybody, and then bring them on, and then we can have a community and we can bring people along. But if I'm just trying to do it, coordinate everyone, I found it quite tricky. It was a tricky thing.
Dan Carter, Aaron Smith, Brad Weber. I tell you what, we need some black ferns,
We do.
owners of Fluffs Brook, right? Otherwise, you're obviating the whole diversity issues that's in the fluff world. I don't want to. Well, I don't mind, but when I go into my fluff world, I want to see males, females. Can they breed?
They will be able to. Breeding's always been a plan for fluffs. Little cute.
Do you have to own both?
I can't answer any of this. I think this is all just go to Discord. That'll be in there.
That's what everyone says. That's a crazy place, that Discord. Now, I think what we've talked about is that there's a lot of opportunities in this space, right? I've sort of been thinking about our creatives, our artists, our musicians, particularly our Māori and Pacifica, who struggle to cross the digital divide. When you and I know you're originally from Wellington. How do you think this meta Web3 gaming world will open up opportunities for our creatives, and also, the people who are not fully in the digital world right now?
Well, I guess there still has to be, people have to be given the opportunity to learn about it. So that part is still really important. And I'm actually from Otaki originally, but went to school. I went to Otaki College, and then I went to Wellington Girls. So kind of like moved from, because they didn't have drama. So I was like, I want to move to Wellington. Now Otaki has this incredible hub of people that have focused on creative Māori, the Māori land out there, the programs that are helping teach people around virtual reality and immersive storytelling. There's like all these resources and time and energy that's been put into enabling people access to the technology and the talent, to teach you about the technology. And so then once people are given those opportunities, then they can take advantage of them, right? Because you know about them and you understand how they work. And I do think there's something pretty cool about the fact that it's not that tricky once your mum's helped you a little bit to be able to create your first NFT, to be able to, just explore what those opportunities are for you if you were an artist or, a creator. It's just, I think that education bit and that support has to be there.
That's, when we think about industry good, I think it's really important that we all remember where our feet are versus where other people's feet are. And the industry good obligation, I think, is to be able to share those opportunities and into schools, because I don't believe in a linear world. I believe in a non-linear world. And so just by enlightening the creativity for our people creates the opportunity for them to go, I know what to do, let's go. But we have to give that, we have to find a way to be able to take that to the people and into the regions, right? And not physically, but virtually, and maybe physically. It's for others to say, it's, I went down the hole, right, a few weeks ago. And then Pat, my co-founder, was like, what the fuck is he doing? He's going down the hole. He went down a different hole. He was like, I'm actually going to create my own NFT range.
Yeah.
But then I think about the 13-year-old in Tairāwhiti down on the West Coast and just go, how do we create those opportunities for them?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually working with someone. I can't say too much because we're working on it to pitch in for some funding, but it'll be in that way, to enable people who should have the opportunity to explore this industry more around virtual reality than anything else for us. I think it's just so important. So important.
What's your why?
It really is about bringing people joy, like to, entertain, to make people feel happy, because there's so much stuff, right? There's heavy stuff and there's, complicated things going on in the world. And for me, the best thing I can do and that brings me happiness and why I exist is, to make people feel good and make them smile, and have fun together.
Are you the same in gameplay and in person?
I think so.
Okay. Let me read you something that you said a little while ago. Okay. I think up until this point, I hadn't been truly challenged, and I felt real loneliness and hard times, a lack of sleep, waking every 2 hours and going to work, and I was leading a team and learning a new work environment and the relationships. Everything isn't quite what it seems on the outside. I didn't know how I was going to pay myself, and suddenly I'm putting myself out there, my personal brand, not someone else's. I also had people saying, who are you? Why do you think you're qualified to be doing this?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think when you hear that back?
I'm so pleased I'm not in that time anymore, but I do know that time very well. It was hard. It was so bad. and yes, of course, I think, there is, we do put ourselves out there and not always our full self that everybody sees publicly, right? Because there's a lot of stuff happening behind closed doors. And I know particularly in that period of time when I was it was when I was setting up Projector, and I was trying so hard to bring it all these things together and, lead this new industry. Everyone was fighting and bickering. There was all sorts of drama going on, but I'm trying to say, this is a cool new sector. And, you don't want to be like, and also I'm broke and this is hard and this is hard. So, I'm just glad that's not my now.
Where does your energy come from?
Well, I guess my energy comes from the satisfaction of being able to create with others, to collaborate, to give people opportunities to try new things. I love that. You know, the amount of times I've given people, you know, put a headset on people and just, it doesn't matter, you know, that it's just, I've seen the same game, you know, for 2 years, Oddball.
Yeah.
You know,
The
I mean, I ran
reaction.
that with my co-founder every Saturday. You know, we ran all our customers through Oddball. We were the ones that ran it. And there was still that huge joy when people put it on and had so much fun in their first time in VR, and just watching people when they get out going, oh, I get it, you know? And so that gives me energy, because I go, I might be a bit sick of something, you know, or I've like, off now, I'm ready to get on to the new thing. But then I'm reminded that, you know, that people aren't at the same stage, and me being able to give them that opportunity is really exciting.
It's pretty amazing. I think that, you know, one of the things I've got out of our chat today is that um, the opportunity to share what we see with others creates actually creates a momentum for people to be able to follow and create their own steps, right? Now, I know someone in the comments has said, you know, is there the opportunity to donate a fluff brain thingy where, you know, that will enable others to get involved? I think it's a super interesting thing, because I know, you know, I'm at an age and stage where I could buy a fluff myself, right? What I've been thinking about is that my team at Manaki were like, hey, I've got $300 or $400. Can we go in together? And my first reaction was, shit, I don't want to. What happens if it crashes and they lose their money? But just because I live in a nice house, is that right? Like, that I should be able to buy all these, you know? But maybe that's my sort of more social side. I don't have an answer to that, other than the fact that I think all communities, all initiatives in this world need to be mindful of, you know, not being all about how big your checkbook is.
Yeah, definitely. It was one of the reasons, you know, I'm keen to figure out this bit too, because when we started Beyond, it was about how can we make VR more accessible? Because if we want to bring it to the masses, right, then it shouldn't be that, well, you have to be able to own a PC, you know, that costs you $2,000 that can run this $1,000 headset, you know, that's not accessible. And, you know, making sure that when we priced how much people it was going to be to play our game, it was, you know, it could be a similar price as playing laser tag or something, you know, which was still might be a special occasion on a birthday maybe, but we're not going, you know, we're not looking at, oh, it's only for really, you know, corporate groups or something, which is what a lot of our competitors have done, which was like, this is going to cost you $120, you know.
I've got an idea. Why couldn't we create fractionalized ownership of digital assets? Like, so, you know, like Sharesies, you can get fractional ownership of shares.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you do that with fluffs?
Yeah, this is, you know, like a platform that enabled you to just have a percentage of a fluff or a character, and minimize your risk as well over, you know,
Brooks already said, you know, hey,
are they doing
I'm
it?
ahead of you. I'm already doing it.
He's already doing it.
What are your daily habits?
Coffee. I always go to Havana
How
and
many?
I
How
just
many a
get
day?
one, a long black with some cream. I've been playing squash, so played yesterday and probably try and play again today. If
Do you
not,
have the
going
special
Wednesday.
shoes?
No, no. I mean, we always have, you know, morning stand up, which is where we find out what's happening in everybody's world. And then normally a bit of play testing, you know, so like just in the next probably half an hour after this, we'll be jumping in to play Combinauts and test out, you know, where things are looking with that. And I mean, that's kind of it. Lots of, you know, lots of chats.
And no to people who want to meet up?
I used to always say yes to everything, and then I had to look after myself and my well-being, because stuff, you know, it was just taking its toll, and so it's, you know, you have to be in the right space to be able to take on and give your time. You have to be in a good space yourself. So at the moment, I'm often saying yes, but I still know how to say no. So I've got better at it. I used to feel bad saying no.
When you look at you and your co-founder, what are each of your superpowers?
He's a hustler, so that's probably his superpower, is that he can just hustle things and make them work. He's a problem solver as well, so he's a really good problem solver. And
You?
I'd say my superpower is probably bringing people together. I think I'm pretty good at making things work together with other people, and I think so. Yeah,
Interesting. Now, I always want some free consulting advice from leaders like you. So, Manaki, right, which is, a community for small business, and with a particular focus on Indigenous, Māori and Pacifica and diverse communities. We're only 18 months in doing our business, and we have to remind ourselves the whole time when we're challenged. But we're getting this interesting community together, and we've been thinking about this meta world, and on the one hand, what we do to help others understand what they, how they go down the path, but also ourselves as a community. Have you got any thoughts around, and like for example, we are doing a accelerator, like a new age at scale accelerator,
cool.
which is freaking cool, and it's got some amazing partners coming on board.
I think there might have been a leak there.
5G mobility. I think, Aaron and I and Pat went for a walk on, I don't know, Monday afternoon round the basin, tired Pat out in the heat. But yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting. But what about Manaki itself as do you think we should be like, have you heard of friends with benefits?
I've heard of it. What kind?
Not like that way. I'm talking about there's a DAO, and that's friends with benefits. You're right. Cough. Yeah. Need another coffee. No, so, do you think we should put a token out for Manaki itself?
I think it's a cool idea, and I feel like Aaron and Brooke and the others are going to be able to advise you way more.
I'm not asking them. I'm asking you.
I think it's a cool idea, and I really liked your idea about the ability to, like you mentioned, sharesies or whatever, to be able to invest as a collective in things and de-risk things and allow people who couldn't spend that much money on something to have a part of that and to learn about it. So maybe if you can figure that bit out too in there.
Before we run out of money.
Yeah, because I know, right? I know all about running out of money, and it's so hard. Right? And you're just like, oh, we've got something amazing here. We can't let this go.
It is funny though, because I've sat on the other side of the table over the years, and I don't think I'm a fund manager. I think I'm more a founder supporter. And, it's easy to tell people that your pitch is shit or it's not working or resonating. It's when you're on the other side and you're like, they don't understand it. They don't like it. I mean, when we walked around the basin with Aaron, we got 3/4 of the way round, and he said, "Can you just answer some questions?" And we're like, "Oh my god, how can we be so fucking useless?"
Yeah, well, I've got to admit, I got quite a few no's from the Ice House over the years.
I'll tell you a secret.
What?
Vivi.
That's awesome.
That got a no.
Did it? Yeah, there we go. That makes me feel a little bit better.
He is incredible. Like, that whole team is incredible. I love what they're doing.
It's so exciting, and they're in the top 10 in the Fast 50 this year. Fastest growing companies. I think I saw something like that.
I haven't met his co-founder, but he is an incredible human, and a machine at how hard he works.
Yeah.
Because you don't do you go out on the piss like every week for an afternoon and just chill while the staff? Is that what you do?
Yeah, totally. No, of course not. I don't think that my liver would like that very much. I'm a bit old for that now. I take a long time to I take a long time to recover. I'm older than you think. No, I do not. But I do try and take care of my well-being better than I used to, like in
That's
terms
good.
of making sure I'm getting exercise, making sure I'm not working till all hours, all of that's, something that I used to just drive myself too much, and then it just wasn't good.
Two final questions for you.
Yes, I think
Take
so.
yourself to the
We have
15.
4%. I tried to plug in, but for some
Oh
reason
no,
it's
okay,
not
so let's go
working.
quick. So take yourself to the 15-year-old student of today. What's the advice to the girl at Otaki or at Wellington Girls?
I was already pretty cool. You can keep being cool. No, just keep believing, keep believing in yourself, and don't let people, don't let those no's bring you down, and keep pushing. If you believe in something and you're passionate about something, you can do it. You have that self-belief, and don't let people stop you or doubt yourself. And also don't feel like you have to be one thing, or I think we get told, what are you going to be? I'm going to be this, and it's like, no, just what's your why? What do you want to do? It could take you in all sorts of areas, and you can. That's not a job title, out there.
It's not a job title. I love that. When do the boroughs mint?
December.
Yeah, no, but we're in December.
I
What
know
date?
it's coming. Watch this space.
No date.
I'm not giving you a date, but it's coming soon.
Which borough should I go for? I'm not a high roller.
You might just have to wait and see what you get.
Oh, really? Is there anything in the boroughs that we haven't seen that would be quite cool if you shared?
There's
Because
going to be
Brooke's gone from the call, so you
there's
can.
going to be something. There's going to be a website soon, so you're going to get lots of information soon.
No one watches this. Just give us something.
I can see Craig is there, Kiwi Chick is there.
No one will know. Just a little,
There's cool.
something.
All of them are amazing, and everyone will be pleased with them. Let's just say that.
Okay, I'm going to finish there because I'm trying too hard to get secrets out of you, which seems to be a thing on these calls. I just wanted to say thank you very much. I obviously knew of you through your Biz Dojo days, and then heard about Beyond through the Ice House team. And the joy for me is the opportunity to get to meet people like you and Sam and others to just to actually hear about not so much the meta world. It's about the journeys, the vision that you have, and the energy. And I think it's quite inspirational for everyone to see that, and it's inspirational for me. It's a pain in the ass having to do all these preparations and getting up at 4:15 in the morning, but I'm very grateful that you took the time in a busy schedule to just share. So can I just say thank you very, very much?
Thank you. Honestly, though, thanks for sharing what we're doing, because it's a really important thing, and I appreciate it, and we appreciate it.
So your final word is, what are we going to see from Beyond over the next year? The boroughs?
You're going to see the boroughs. You're going to see combinauts. You are just going to see things that are going to delight and surprise you.
How good is that? Hey, Merry Christmas. Have you got a Christmas tree?
I do. I put it up last night with my son and my husband. We put on the Christmas carols and put up the Christmas tree. It was fun.
How old's your son?
He's just about to turn 8.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've got a 17 and 15-year-old daughters, and they're, summer holidays are coming. It's so good. So Merry Christmas to you. I hope you have an awesome launch of the boroughs. I'll be watching, and combinauts, and an amazing 2022. See you, buddy.
Thank you. You too. See you, Andy.
See ya.